Babylon flopped at the box office. There are many reasons why that could be, but I'm not here to talk about that. Although, in my opinion, the reason why that happened is because there were no lions or gladiators. That's what people think Babylon is, right? Misleading title, if you ask me. Oh shit, no, that's ancient Rome. My bad. But these are my thoughts on the movie. Babylon was my most anticipated movie of the year, and I don't know if I came out of the theater feeling satisfied. Goddamn, I have no idea where to begin with this film. I feel that, just like the movie, this video is going to be all over the place. Damien Chazelle, the director of the movie, described it as a love letter to movies, but a poisoned pen letter to Hollywood. In a way, that perfectly sums up the film. But I don't think we can stop there because, oh my god, there are so many things to talk about. Let me explain.
It's the most magical place in the world.
Babylon is Damien Chazelle's latest release, his fourth major movie following First Man, La La Land, and Whiplash. Pretty great movies on the list, right? Well, yeah, that's why I was so excited for the freaking movie. And I feel like you're gonna be more excited watching this video if you like and subscribe. Thank you. The way I feel best describes what this movie is about is Babylon is a story about the beauty of movies, the dark underbelly of Hollywood, and the large amount of exploitation in it. The movie centers around three main leads. Manny Torres, who is an immigrant trying to become part of something larger, trying to make something, but who gets sucked into the machine and hooked on our next character. Nellie Leroy, who is an actress that has a gambling and drug problem, someone who rises to stardom as fast as she falls out of it. And Jack Conrad, the aging star who begins the movie in the height of his power and we watch his downgrade and fading out of Hollywood. The thing that makes these three characters part of one is ambition. All of them have ambitions in Hollywood that slowly bring them to the brink of destruction. Nellie Leroy is an aspiring actress. Manny Torres just wants to get on a film set. And Jack Conrad wants to change the face of movies. He wants to innovate and make people take film seriously. The movie is set mainly in the 1920s, in the era of transitioning from the silent films to talkies. And during the silent film era, movies were a lot more associated with circus shows than they were with theater, for example. As they say in the movie, films aren't high art. And Jack Conrad, the man who grew up as the poor man, wanted to change that. He wanted to show everyone the power of movies. And the irony of it is, that innovation that he wanted to bring is what ultimately led to the demise of his career. In my opinion, Jack Conrad, of course played by Brad Pitt, is the most interesting character in the movie, who starts off as nothing more than the big famous rich star, and slowly devolves into all of what I just talked about. He has one of the most heartfelt and heartbreaking sequences in the whole movie, but I'll leave that out because spoilers. Here's the problem. You notice how I just talked about very important aspects of the main characters? Well, the movie isn't nearly as interested in exploring them. Babylon is 3 hours long. 3 fucking hours. Yet the amount of character development we get from our mains can be brushed up to a movie that's 2 hours long, maybe even less. Babylon is interested in the broad picture. Hollywood. It looks at big Hollywood parties, movie sets, and how reckless and dangerous they were back then. Like how a lot of people died for the most random and stupid reasons possible. And other things that maybe shouldn't have taken up the space that could have been reserved for the characters. Because these aren't the only characters we have in the movie. The movie explored other supporting characters in Sidney Palmer, a musician who was brought into the world of acting and essentially used for his race. And Faye, who's just weird. I don't know what to say about her. The movie I feel can be most closely compared to Babylon is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, a movie that came out 3 years ago by Quentin Tarantino. And guess what? It also stars Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie and Leonardo DiCaprio in basically the same role as Jack Conrad in Babylon, the aging, dying out star that is getting replaced by the younger and more fresh. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood takes a different viewpoint than Babylon. It is also set in a different era of Hollywood. I enjoyed it more, way more than I did Babylon, because it truly focuses on its characters. It really reminds me of a quote by Richard Price that is super pretentious but perfectly compares both movies. The bigger the issue, the smaller you write. You don't write about the horrors of war. You write about a kid's burnt socks lying on the road. You pick the smallest, manageable part of the big thing, and you work off the resonance. And I think that applies here in terms of character. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood takes its sweet time setting up each character, our two mains specifically, and there are segments about each individual that last like 30 minutes. It's a slow-paced movie. Babylon is constant boom, boom, boom. There's so many different things happening, so many intricacies, and yet it feels like it drags a lot more than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Babylon is a movie that almost doesn't really have a main plot. Neither does Once Upon a Time in Hollywood really, but when you have a situation like that, I feel like you should work off the characters. But Babylon is mainly, not only, but mainly interested in looking at everything from an outside lens, the broader picture. Babylon is a movie that explores a lot of vulgarness. Drugs, schwecks, pissing on people. It's weird. Pretty gross at times. The score is magnificent. This is an expected thing by now for Damien Chazelle movies, so there are no surprises or disappointments there. It is of course greatly shot. Sometimes there are weird shots where you feel like you can't see anything, and there are some pretty weird editing choices, but for the most part, well shot. It is a love letter to movies. What can I say? It did its job in that sense. It definitely did its job in exploring the dark side of the Hollywood machine. The movie definitely had some great performances by the actors. No surprises there either. And fuck me, I still don't know that I can say if I find this a good movie or not. It feels like for every good in this, there is a not so good. There's a lot to learn from it for filmmakers, that's for sure. It can be funny at times for general audiences. It does have a pretty particular charm. Babylon is a movie that is either gonna become a classic in the long term, or it's gonna fade into nothingness, and we are all gonna forget about it. It'll become a fever dream. There is no in between. These are my thoughts on the movie. Whether you want to watch it now, that is up to you. It's 3 hours long though, so brace yourself, because you are gonna feel it. And that is pretty much all I have for you today. Watch this video about Knives Out next if you would like, and Happy New Year. See ya.